In the Lab and Out in the Field, a parapsychology podcast by HSPRC. Researching macro PK. Welcome everyone. I'm Balázs Poyanki, psychologist and research director at HSPRC. My special guest today is Eric Dullin from France, who is an electrical and mechanical engineer with a PhD in process engineering and information processing. He was founder and CEO of the ORTEMS company, planning and scheduling software for industries. He also worked as a professional coach, now retired and very interested in physics and paranormal phenomena. In his active retreat, he is the research director at LAPDC, and he is the founder and pilot of the Macro PK project. He has got several publications related to the topic we discussed today, and we can see him speaking at conferences. Actually, I met him in 2025 in Freiburg, Germany, at the PA convention. Eric is an active member of several associations working in the field of parapsychology. For example, the International Institute of Metapsychique in France, participating in the group Haunting and Poltergeist. The Society for Psychical Research, participating in the Spontaneous Cases Committee in the UK, the Parapsychological Association, or the Society for Scientific Exploration in the USA. Today, Eric is going to talk about his research areas such as RSPK or poltergeist, physical mediumship, mystical events such as levitations, and the database he created with his colleagues. He will also talk about what he is working on now and what he plans to research in the future. You will also hear about what keeps him excited when exploring the world of the paranormal. Please help us understand who you are and what you do, Eric.
I'm very interested by all phenomena about paranormal. In fact, when I was young, I was interested also by that. And also I discovered when I made my first training in school, the physics. I was in love with physics. And then I had some experiments with people, and I just want to test telepathy and astral moving and so forth. And I wanted to make the connection between physics and this phenomenon, because I think it was key for me. It was when I was young. It was just the beginning of Einstein's theory and quantum mechanics, and so it was very new world, very interesting. And in the same time, I feel that some phenomena were not fit in this theory, even if they are very advanced. And so I was very interested to that. And after I moved forward, I am a doctor, a PhD, and an engineer in mechanical and electricity. So we could say that. And I make a PhD in software engineering. And then I moved the most part of my life in the software industry. I start my own business 10 or 15 years after, and we developed a software which is for optimizing the production in the industries, and we sell it and we install it in different countries, and then in the US and etc. And then I come back and make some coaching to people to develop their companies, and then I help my wife to develop a company to train kids and families and make video training on the internet. And then I come back to what I was very interested for. It was to paranormal. So in fact, I have a specific experience in, I think it was in the 80s, 1986, around that. I have a friend who knows that I was interested by this kind of topics, and he tried to me say, oh, there is some bizarre things happening in the little house in Savoie. It's a little department, or I would say county, maybe in France. And proposed me that we move in this little house, because it was not used every day. It was only for holidays. Small, only two rooms house, so it's a very small house. And so we moved there with. I remember that we were him, me, and there was one of his cousin, the father of the cousin, and one of his friend of the cousin, which was in pharmaceutical industries. And my friend was also engineer like me. And so we move, and we start the night, and things start to come. So like lamp, and you said that lamp turning around. You hear the lamp turning, and then there is some wrap in the bed post. It's like knocks, and stronger and stronger. And at the end of song, there is boom, and there is some kind of teleportation of something in the room. So we discover stones, but also some objects coming from the other room, because there is a kitchen and a room, and things coming from the kitchen, even if the door was closed between the two, and no windows, and so and many things like that. So it was really. I know that because I was not the first one to come in the house, and presently they all finished the night with the light open. And so we finished not the light open, but it was pretty fun. And so, but shamelessly, it was in '96. We don't have smartphone. Happily, I went with my notebook, and I write all the things in the time. I make signature by all the people, and also I move with a tape recorder, and so I have the full happening, the full events recorded on the tape, and so I was able to make some sound analysis. I've done that after, but I have the initial file, so I digitalize, and so I was able to find that. We found the same thing that Barry Colvin, an English guy who makes some study about poltergeist, shows that there is a specific signature of the sound, but we can talk about that maybe later. And so it's why I take the train of the paranormal studies. I not first, because I hope that we could study furthermore, but in fact, during this experiment, we show that there was a PK agent. We show that, in fact, the cousin, if he was not there, there was nothing happening. So he didn't know that, and also his father didn't believe have no belief about that before, and so he has to first see that it happening, and second that it is son with the center. So it was too strong, and they decide that they don't want that we come back to the house, because I wanted to come back with some, tools like infrared camera or something like that. Even in '96 we could have that, but rented. So shamelessly, we did not have no more information, but I keep contact with all the people. And first, I have a script of all what's happening, the events before we went there. I think globally there is 4 events before I come there. And then there is also, and I met 2 years ago, I met all the people. and I try to explain what we are doing and recall all the detail of the events. And the cousin gave us some more information about what happened next. In fact, there was some case where they come back with friends, and at some time he think he saw his grandfather, which was dead, but we didn't experience it. So it was just a testimonial from him, and he says that his parents have also some other phenomena there, even when he was in army. So it's only the only case, the only event happens when he was not there. So it's just testimonial. Okay, but so it was a big event for me. But after I moved to work and make my life. Then when there is some guy in France which is very known, this is Jean-Pierre Girard. It's a metal bending expert, I would say, who have made some big experiment with big company like Péchinet. Péchinet, it's a very big company in France about metal, and they make some big experiment with metal inside a glass tubes, I would say sealed, and he was able to bind the metal and even make some change inside the metal that the scientific was not able to do. So it was a very strong guy, and he's making training in France, mainly for families and kids. So and I follow one of his training, and I didn't have the chance to bend metal, but some people just beside me do that, and I saw that really it was not trick, because this guy is also known to have made some tricks, so it's always difficult to, in all the stories of many people who have made some, PK events or something like that, and many have at some time tricks, so it's very difficult to take apart the good and the bad, except for people who make the real analysis. So I came back to that, and I find other people making some PK in France, and I try to train myself because I was very interested to try to with pinwheel first, and then we move some more heavier things, and I was able also to make that something in confine, so below a glass ball. And so then people told me that there is some people trying to make some experiments, scientific experiments. And so I was very interested. I contacted him, and then I moved. So it was the lab is LAPDC. It's I would say virtual lab. I would say we work at different places in France, but maybe we can maybe speak more about that later, maybe, because the first question was how I moved to this field. Mm-hmm. So I think I give you some good tips about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And you already mentioned a couple of phenomena in your stories. And before defining or classifying PK, can you please give us one or maybe more examples everyday people may experience without knowing that this was PK or any kind of PK?
Maybe I will start by some paradox, when I do that, maybe I use PK. Okay. We don't know how the mind is moving the hand. Philosophical, there is with Descartes, there is separation between minds and the spirits and the matter. So if you are dualist, so you think that there is mind and spirit and matter, how the spirit is moving the matter? So when you move your arm, you are moving your arm, you are moving matter, and in fact you have decided in your spirits. So how do you do that? There is no finished questions today about that, So maybe PK is everywhere, I don't know. But in more standard way, I would say that I think there is some bio PK more known, So we very often we define So PK, psychokinesis. First, some people take telekinesis.
Okay.
In our lab we prefer to use telekinesis because there is no interpretation in it, you know. If you say psychokinesis, you decide that it's from your spirit. But if you say it's telekinesis, you don't know. You just see that when you are there, some things are moving, and we are not there, the things are not moving. But you don't know what's happening. Is it your body? Is it your spirit? You know. When you say psychokinesis, you induce that, in fact, it's in your spirit. But in Anglo-Saxon countries, in English, people use more often psychokinesis than telekinesis. So we use psychokinesis. And then inside that, we can say there is some kind of bio-PKs, so people think that like healing. So people may make some distance healing. We think that they use bio-PK, biopsychokinesis. And then after we talk about influence of matter, not biologics, and we can split in two, because many people did a very big work about what we call micro-PK. So it's influence some electronics parts, or even at the photon level. And the result is mainly evaluated by statistics. So coming from work of Ryan Centers and then Jane and other peoples, they work on influence random number generators and try to see if people can random number generators. Normally you have a flat curve, so you have 50, 0, 51. And the people try to influence this result and say, maybe I will have more 1 or more 0 on something. It's transformed in a game. So you have, for example, like something like a circle, and you have a small bar, and you try to move it more on the left or more on the right. People, when they do that, in fact, we look at the generators, and if there is more 50, more 1, it moves there, and more 0, it moves there. So they can try to influence inside the game the result. And there is some good result. I think that there is some meta-analysis, so some discussion around, because in fact the problem is in the analysis is that there is two ways to work on science in scientific area. One is to say that this phenomena is inside anybody, and so I will try to work with thousands of bodies, thousands of people, and I will try to show that this 1,000 people, if I accumulate all the trial, I have a specific deviation from the standards result. In other way, you can try to, and it's what we work on, is to try to find some people who have more results than others. I would say that I make often the comparison between people that in tennis. Some people are in the Olympic Games, and other people are good, but they are not at the Olympic Games. And maybe even if they train more, they were not able to go to the Olympic Games. And maybe in psychics area, it could be the same. And so some study with 1,000 people, finally we look to inside it, and you see that the main part of the result was from some people. And so when they try to repeat the same experiment, but they don't have this specific people, they don't have the same result. So that's the problem of the replication, you know, in the micro PK. And then the third part is what we call macro PK. So because without the accent, it's not so easy. So it's macro, it's macroscopic. So the idea is to make some change that you can see with your sense. You don't need to make statistics. You see it. Okay. So if I move a stone from distance, you saw the stones moving. So you don't have to make statistics to see if the stone has moved. Okay. And so that's my focus. My focus is on macro PK. And so inside the macro PK, my point was to say that for me, the objective is to collect data about it, to show that it exists. Because many mainstreams science, even in parapsychology, I don't like to use the name belief, because I think it's not a problem of belief. But I would say that some people in mainstream, they don't want to hear about it because they are sure that it not exist. So my point is to say, I want to collect data to show that there is enough data to ask the questions to the people. Okay. And where are the data? And you can see the data in the past or even today about poltergeist. So the kind of experience that I have. And I collect the data, and now we have more than, I think, 1,500 cases with all the phenomenology. So when I say phenomenology, we have defined 93 criteria to define what happens during this case. For example, is there move of object, move of big object like a bed? If there is some breaks, if there is some waters coming from the wall or the ground, if there is some fire ignitions, if there is some people hurt, etc., etc. So there is 93 parameters, and so we have able to say today, and we look from antiquity until now. So we have a whole view of historical periods and geographics. But now we just have had because I'm working with a partner in Australia. We have bring me many other cases, and we have bring me Africa, Middle East, South America, Asia, Europe, and and I'm happy if I can bring more about Hungary. I'm just working on including many cases from Russia, Belarus and Russia, and because I develop a software and using AI to work directly on some cases, which we have the reports, the newspaper, the report, and we're able to extract the parameters and to make some grading about how the case is credible, about testimonial, about level of detail we have, and so when we make sum up in 5 languages, and so people can directly see the thing on the site. So it's about macro PK. It's a project I'm working on, and maybe we took that about later. So poltergeist, it's a case. It's a part of thing when we can see macro PK. We can read people. Sometimes there is 20 witness, 100 witness, so you can't just take it and put in the trash. You have to look at it. And what's interesting is that because things are close from different countries, and things the interpretation is different from a historical period, but the facts are the same. So that's interesting. So poltergeist. Then we have what we call physical mediumships, which was very developed in the 90s, 80s. With many people making some strong, like levitations, like moving, like levitation of table, levitation of themselves, moving, making some sounds, making some light. So very, it's some are very close to the poltergeist events. It's interesting to see the different things. And also we are looking to the mystics. So people who are making levitations or some kind bilocations. So all these phenomena, which are attributes to religious, we can see that it's physical phenomenon. We don't understand what's happening. So, and for me, it's like macro PK. So it's moving object. When you levit yourself, you are moving yourself. So I don't know. And I say when you are moving, it's the you is between comma. You don't know where is coming the force. Okay, we could discuss that later. So, and then I'm interested also to look at all the people who have made some research on it. But it's very interesting to see how many people have made some research and make some experiments. So in the database there is all that, and also all the experiments which are made. So as we do in our lab, we make some experiment about trying to moving object and trying to make some measurement and be sure that there is no other physical effects. So documentation, and also seeing how repeatable is it possible. And so we can discuss also later. And so that's the field I am working on in macro PK.
Sounds very amazing to me and very colorful. I can see the spectrum of these different events you were mentioning. Because usually when I have conversations with people, this is what we call the psychokinesis or telekinesis. Most of them just think about this mind-matter interaction coming from movies, sometimes, from Hollywood. So there's someone like a superhero who can have these abilities. I'm moving this army or the enemy out of the way or something like that. But as I
just
can hear
Stranger Things series.
Yes, just look at that. Exactly. But if I come back to what you do, and if I have a look at your website or around your work, I can see something. It's called the Online Collaborative Macro PK Database. So is this what people can have a look at, or someone can just see that? Okay, so this is what Eric and the team are working on.
Yeah, in fact, the idea is to, as I say, collect data. So the first thing is to show there is some data, and also opening this data to people. So there is, for me, two kinds of people who could be interested by the database. It's normal people who want just to see some case, or maybe they are in. Sorry, but I didn't have time to just check if we have some case in Hungary. But anyway, and maybe you can bring some from later. But the idea is that I'm living in Hungary. What are the cases in Hungary? So just have to select the country, and they see directly on the map where are the poltergeist known in this country, at what time it was, what dates. And then they click on the systems, just directly have the detail of the source. For me, the key point for this database is to say that we found this, but this is the source. So where do we have this information? And we have not, I would say, we are not claiming that all the cases are real. We don't have this possibility. We just say, here are the data, here are the source. Some we have detailed because we have some detailed report, blah, blah, blah. Some not. And people, if they want to make their minds, they can go to the source and check it themselves, So we are not selling a belief. We are not selling data. We just give them, and people can make their own mind. I think that we are at a stage in the humanity where people can make their own mind. They don't have people to be filled by others, And when you see all the data and all the source, if really you make your work, and you are stunned. And there is no way. So people who say, it's all garbage. It's people who are not looking to the data. That's it. That's it. Because so many people very so. For example, for each case, we try to have the phenomenology. So what happens in the case? And so I think 90% of the cases have this phenomenology. So you can see directly what happens in it. And we have also a grading of our testimonial and detail. So testimonial is say, is there how many witnesses? Is there witness outside of the close witness, so outside the family, outside the company? What level of study of the people, of the witness? Was there any investigation by the five people, by a parapsychological expert, from some religious or priest, by a police? Yeah. what if they were the name of the investigators, and how long there is time between the event and the report. So that's very important because it's 10 years after you know how it works.
Memory.
Yeah. And so you have many, and this is used today by the AI to evaluate the case. So we have spreadsheet to the AI, so they use this spreadsheet to evaluate the case. And about the detail, is it a newspaper, classic newspaper? Is it a magazine with a review committee? So people were looking article and paper before take it. And is there some detailed events log from the people who have live the event? This is really rare. So we don't have so much. But, it's so important. I've done it, and I think it's coming back because it was 1986. So now it's we are in 1926. That's 40 years after. So if you don't have make notes, minds will do those things.
Exactly. It's going to fill the gaps.
Yeah. So and so this idea is that people. This idea is that people can make directly the second kind of people who could be interested by this is the people who make some research. For example, you say, I'm interested by all the case where there is fire ignition. So they can directly go to the base and say, I'm selected for fire ignition, and I want only the case, I would say, since 1900. Until 1950, I don't know.
Okay.
And maybe only in Hungary. Well, not sure there is not so much case, but you can do that. And now we have at the level of continent, so people can make some cultural analysis between continent, between countries, and this is directly, you can directly have some result about numbers, about case, or about geographics. So you can, for example, have on a map only the case we have, for example, a female agent with fire ignitions and with, for example, waters coming. And you see on the map directly where in the world there is this case. And so this is for the poltergeist part. And for the mediumships, today we have, I think, 140 medium, I think. They don't have all their phenomenology, so it's a work in progress. And but we are going in the same way. So you can select people who are able to make some metal bending, or people who are making some levitations, and so forth, and make some comparison, and so. And same for the mystics. So mystics, and then after we have all part which is not done yet, but in the website, what we want to do is to explain what was experiments. So different kind of experiment in different fields, so on metal bending, on moving of object, of running object like we do, on people making some sticking of object on a wall, etc. And then theory. I like to link to the theory after we have the fact.
Right.
Because so often we go too quickly on theory, and because we are looking at the theory, you filter unconsciously the fact. And so, as I am making experimentation, I don't want to go too quick to the theory. But this is a very interesting part too. My main point is at the end is to say that, hey, we look the data. So this is phenomena, you can say if you look to the data, you see it's real. So what can we, if we put this different theory, how will they fit in that? It's very simple,
Yeah, I like it. And Eric, what I can hear is that it's growing. So your data set is growing, it's getting bigger and bigger, another way to say that. And observation I have is that it's getting more diverse. So it's poltergeist, many things like you are mentioning here, it's making it more colorful. So people, if they are looking for some patterns or connections or something that keeps repeating, then it also provides them with this kind of source they can go to. All right.
Yeah, and also because it's, it was from scratch, we defined the database with all these cases. So poltergeist, mediumship, mystics, and so it's all quite connected. So if I'm looking for the searcher in the field, I can find which poltergeist they are working. I can find also maybe with which PK agents they have make some experiments. So there is connection between the different parts of the database. So it's not just siloed, it's
correct.
Integrated.
Yeah, very exciting. And as a researcher, I think this is a really great source I can turn to. Thinking of people who are not researchers, maybe they are everyday people, but they are interested in this. Oh my gosh, what is happening here? So if I may ask my next question related to these real life experiences, you as a researcher, or maybe you can tell us one or maybe more events when you as a researcher was involved in. So maybe they invited you to, hey, Eric, look, what's happening here? Like you mentioned many, many years ago, you had that one. Do people come to you sometimes?
Some people, some people just send a story, you have some people in the team who explain that they have some waters coming in, and in fact, it was directly connected to some problem with childbirth,
Wow.
So the water was coming in, so we don't know why it's coming in, but in fact there was a loss of a child some months ago, and it was difficult to the mom to integrate it.
Oh
So
my.
very interesting, So it's not a big case, you have in the paper, it's people because they know that you work on this, they try to speak about it, and it's. So there's in every day there is many cases. In fact, people don't speak. I speak about 1,500 poltergeists, but it's it's an iceberg. It's a tip of the iceberg. Many people first don't speak about it because they are afraid to be people take fun from them. So they don't want to talk about it. And so, and also because these phenomena sometimes they are ephemeral. So during some days and then it's out. So they don't. But people sometimes they write it, and 20 years after they say, yes, I have write something. I never talk about it, but this is what happening, and so it's just a testimonial. You don't have some. It's difficult, but because in fact, in this phenomena, we are between the physical and the subjective.
Yeah,
it's why it's so difficult about scientific to study it. But people, it's important that they talk about it because it's a way to sometimes suppress the things. Because we just talk about the poltergeist. It's looking funny, but in fact, for many people, it's a strong experience. But a part of the community thinks that most of the poltergeists come from PK agents. So people who have frustrated and they express this frustration by the poltergeist phenomena. They don't know how, but when the frustration is healed, the phenomena disappear. But that's people have a trend to generalize and say all poltergeists are like this, and I'm not agree with that. I think that in our database we have only 40% with a PK agent identified. So we could say that in some other case, he was not identified, but he was there. But if we make some more analysis, we say that we take only case with strong testimonial credibility. We move from 40% to 50%, 50, 50, 55%. So we don't move to 90%, you know. So we know that there is many cases where we don't have a PK agent, and sometimes it's family agent, you know, because it's problem inside the family. But sometimes, like for example, I remember in UK there was a bar, and there is three manager who change, and there was always the same kind of event, you know, the glass moving on the bar, some bottle moving up and splashing on the wall, some water coming from the toilet, and some things, some big freeze, etc., etc. And so you change manager, and you have the same thing. So if it was from an agent, well, maybe it's always the same people coming in, but yeah. So and there is many other cases where you can't say that it's a PK agent. So I think that we have to be open about hypothesis. It's not we just say that it's unconscious of the people who are making some PK, you know. Yeah, it's why this word about we use in scientific things is to say that poltergeist, they name that RSPK, like recurrent spontaneous poltergeist PK event. So to say that in fact it's people making some PK unconsciously, but we can't say that it takes all the events. Yeah, you have to be careful about that.
Exactly. And I absolutely agree with what you say on people are very careful when sharing this experience with someone to keep it in something like secret, because maybe I can be labeled. Maybe some people say I'm crazy or something, but I trust you. So come to me, Eric, because I have this. I had this yesterday. I had this 2 days earlier. Help us understand on the one hand. On the other hand, it can be very frightening for them. In the middle of the night, something happens. They cannot sleep because of that. The following day, they are sleepy. They cannot drive or concentrate. So it has got the impacts and the consequences of that one. So it's a really long process if I want to study this different segments of that one. Really interesting.
There is some big event, you know, when the people like in Germany, I think it was in Dortmund, the guy doing 20 days, there was 760 stones on the house and 147 windows broken.
My God.
It's really disturbing, you know.
It is, yes. It's quite unusual.
No, yeah. And it was a physician. So and he make a full report about this with his son. It was a strong case, and there is other in many countries, and some strong case where the stones are falling outside the door, and they break some part of the cars. The guys have $7,000 of damages, and then at some time when the stone was start to fall, when they have friends coming in, they take some shield to get their people in. So
protection, my goodness.
and in fact, after I think there is two rounds of helicopter of the police running around the house to see if it's some kind of people making this. So I know, there is some case incredible. You know?
Yeah,
just have to look inside. You know.
Correct. And this may be part of this ruling out procedure, that this is not coming from here. We can rule out the source from there. And we are just standing there. Now then what? So how can we still explain what is happening? But it is happening. Interesting.
Exactly.
And what I wanted to say earlier is that the educational part. So how can people learn about these phenomena or experiences? Because in public primary school systems, we don't learn about these, that if
No.
this happens to you, this is what you can do, or that's how you can understand. My question to you is that do you or do your team provide any kind of training or education events or opportunities?
Mainly mainly some articles. I don't know
Okay.
if you see the articles about that we put in a Journal of Scientific Exploration. Did you
Yep,
see it?
I did. I
Phenomena.
did.
So I try to make a bit exhaustive about the phenomenology with more than 100 examples. With extraction of what's happened there, and so I think it's a way, but it's a bit, yeah, it's there's many things. The other way is we make some conference like in Germany. Germany it was more on the database, but we did already some conference about the poltergeist and about the macro-PK site. There is some synthesis about the phenomenology, and so people can have a first draft about what is it and what kind of phenomena you can expect. Then after about I would say the training to help the people to manage this kind of events. This is more a psychological approach. And in France, we have some I would say some entities who are making that. So people were coming more from the psychological or psychiatric area, and they're trying to get the people, and they're trying to the people to explain what they listen first. They listen. That's important, that because the first case is that people feel that they are listening. They don't, as you say, they don't take like a crazy guy. So they listen, and then they try to help people to integrate the event. So in fact, the idea is to say first, you are not alone. So there is many cases, many people who are believing that, so you are not alone. Second thing is that in many cases, there is some connection between what's happening and some feeling or some bad feeling people or some frustration, some conflict, etc. So trying to help people to move inside, so to accept it and accept maybe they are part of the solution. And when this is done, it's a big move, because often the fact that the people accept and maybe it's I am a part of it, or maybe it's so maybe the system start to disappear. It's not all the case, I say, but so I think it's a way. So people are working with people to when they have this kind of event. So first they accept it, know that other people live that, and try to see is there something, some area inside your psyche who can have a link with that. So why is happening now? Is there something particular what's happening in your family, in your around? Is there something coming back, a recurrent thing that you don't have change and need to change? So so if people start to accept to work in these directions, sometimes it's a good way to decrease the phenomena. Not all the case, but I think that's a part. So I think that it's a specific entity who are working in France, in Germany, in UK, and people can write directly what's happening to them. For example, in UK, what I am part of the SCC committee, spontaneous case committee, spontaneous case committee of the SPR, Society for Psychical Research in England. So I am just I move inside this group at the start of the year. And so they receive some questions, some report of people even outside UK, many people. And so there is some, it's anonymous. First it's anonymous, and then there is some people making inside the committee accepting to take the case, and then they try to discuss by email with the people to know more about what's happening, and maybe sometimes they can have some experience directly on the field if they are in the area, etc., etc. So people are taking into account the case, and then they try to manage it, help people to manage it.
Yeah, that's a very interesting area of this one. We are existing for 3 years. And during these 3 years, we had 86, 87 cases. People turned to
Wow.
us related to, I saw something. Can you help me understand what this
Yeah.
is? I heard
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Can you record that? Can you send us the sample? We
Yeah.
can be smarter to say something.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting thing. And what I really enjoy here is the helping part. So how people
Yeah.
can say that, oh, someone is listening to me. Someone is taking
Exactly.
serious what I'm talking about. And they,
Yeah.
in one way or another, they go away and, they continue their life, but there is someone they can share.
Yeah.
Something is happening in their life. That's
And they come
interesting.
back and say, I'm not just mad.
Exactly. Okay.
Also, maybe I connect also because you connect about different area, and I know maybe you are also, in fact, when there is some influence of people who are living some bizarre things, anomalous things, you have some connection also with UFO, Yeah, and so it's in macro PK you don't work about this, but I wanted to mention it because I'm looking also to see if there is some connections because some kind of events are close, But for example, when what we call a non-ballistics move of objects, so objects that can directly move like that and poof, turn at 90 degrees, which is not possible in our current
Physics, yeah.
physics, Well, and you can see the same in UFO. In UFO also, sometimes the motors, the engine stops. And so, for example, in poltergeist, some engines stop, or maybe some engine without current are moving. So it's So maybe some kind of event. So I'm interested to look at it. Not say that it's the same, but you have to. And I know that some people like Jacques Vallée, I met some months ago, who is a very known expert in UFO and is in US now. Was very interested to see potential connection between paranormal events and UFO. And I know that I think that in Belarus, people are taking some events from people, they're taking as UFO and as paranormal. And we have this discussion about SCC SPR because that's the same problem. People are sending a message, say, see a light here, blah, blah, blah. So is it paranormal? Is it UFO? You don't know. Is it just physical event? First steps. Always coming back to the first steps. Is it physical events? Because, many things, even in poltergeist, could be explained by normal things, So we have to be careful not to go too much drive in the paranormal field without looking first at the normal explanation.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then comes human perception and how the perception works under different circumstances. Yeah, it's really
So
complex.
big.
Really complex. I do agree. Yeah. Okay. Just because of the time, we've got approximately 5 more minutes. So if I may ask what you are focusing on right now, any kind of projects or research you are in today.
We continue our research on the PK experimentations on things which are in a confined mode and trying to work from a distance. So that's the point, and working on the problem of intentions, because very often we don't have a strict repetitivity. We are not able to say move and then it moves. In fact, you try to work on it, and at some time it moves, and but you are not sure how you make your intention about it. Is it because you want it globally to have a move, and it starts when you want, when it wants? So it's the problem of intention and the problem of repeatabilities are a strong focus. We work also about trying to work on a vacuum. Okay, and that's for I would say for the part of the PK. We have another experiment with people who are making gust of air, like keys. So they just give a punch, not touching the plastic globe, and the plastic is moving only if he has the intention to do it. So that's another experiment we have. And we work also in Greece with some kind of people who make some experiment about generating an electric field and making contact using this to stock things on a wall. So it's pretty interesting. And so that's big work. And about macro PK, we are integrating many cases now, more cases, because we have many cases which are treated by AI. And at the same time, we have to move more forward with the mediumship parts to have more mediums with the phenomenology. And that's an important work too. I am writing a paper about statistics and phenomenology of poltergeist. So looking all this data, what can we say about the story about historical periods, geographics? Is there some clustering between poltergeists? So I'm writing an article about that, and also an article about the PK under confined mode to see show that there is showing first that we have no physical explanations. So first is my kind of proof, and then try to make some hypotheses.
Amazing. Is this going to be available in English? Your article?
Yeah. Article will do in most of our articles are done in English magazines. Lovely. We have some in France, but mostly it's in English. Yeah.
And Eric, you kept mentioning AI and stuff like that. So it brings my imagination to the future. So if you put yourself to the future and you are investigating this stuff in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, I don't know, what is your dream? What are you researching in the future?
I would say first, I'm very interested by teleportation.
Teleportation.
And I have some connection with China's people who are making some experiment about that, because for them, PK and teleportation, for them, it's the same area.
Okay.
And in Europe, it's not the same. Teleportation is far-fetched, So I'm very interested about that. About objective about macro PK is really to have a database that there is some move from mainstream physical system peoples to study it in order to take into account in our physical model. So that's really my objectives, So in 10 years or 15 years, I hope that this data will be used to work on theory of physics.
Fantastic. Amazing. Thank you. And please tell us where people can read or learn more about what you do, where they can listen to you or even contact you if they want to.
I think that the best thing is to go to MicroPK. People can subscribe to it. It's completely free. So you don't have to subscribe. If you want to use it free like that, you can do that. But if you want to have more information regularly, you can just subscribe to it, and you will have more information directly on it. And so you just send a comment on it, and you directly go in my mail. So I will saw that. Also, I have a question. Do you have some reports in Hungary about poltergeist?
Yes,
So
we do have. Yeah, we have 3 cases in our own database. So if we
okay,
can collaborate and you say you are happy
yeah,
to have those 3 cases, I've got
yeah,
this, of course, with the anonymity and people cannot be
yeah,
identified.
okay,
I
okay,
can give you the location where it happened, when it happened, because I've got this, all the case files. I can share
yeah,
it with you. It's in
sure,
Hungarian, but I can just translate it into English because I think the
yeah,
database is in English, so it can be
yeah.
included. Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
and with the AI, I think that we are able to do that directly. You can read.
Oh,
I read
even better.
a PDF and make the extraction, make translations, blah blah blah. So I will look first. I will look what we have in Hungary in the macro PK, and if we can add some more, I would be very happy. And so it could be used by your countries.
Lovely. I've got one last and final question, Eric. So, what keeps you going? What are you excited about in this area?
For me, I love to discover. The discovery. And for me, it's always coming back to always the same thing. So, what we are doing here, where do we come from, and where do we go? And so, working on this area, that's big fun. So, I'm also interested by OBE and something like that, and on all these areas that give many things to discover. So, I'm a curious people.
Likewise, then we can say high five. Yes, thank you. Eric, thank you very, very much for your time and your wisdom, sharing all of this with my listeners.
Thank you for your attention. If you are interested in other topics related to parapsychology, the research in this area, and other experts, you can visit our website at hsprc.org. You can participate in our studies, and if you or someone around you may face an extraordinary experience you cannot explain and cope with alone, you can register for a free parapsychological counseling session with us. Our consultation services are available both in English and in Hungarian. It is free, it is confidential. You can find our contact information on our page. Thank you again. Keep questing.